Some of you here tonight or watching at home, you were there with us in 2004, in 2008, 2012. Maybe you still can't believe we pulled this whole thing off. Let me tell you, you're not the only ones.
The Obama family's story is one of remarkable achievements, resilience, and public scrutiny. As the first African-American president of the United States, Barack Obama brought his family into the spotlight in a way that few others have experienced. His daughters, Malia and Sasha Obama, grew up under the unique circumstances of living in the White House, which significantly shaped their childhood and adolescent years. Their journey from Chicago to the nation's most iconic residence is a tale of adaptation, privacy struggles, and personal growth against a backdrop of unprecedented public interest. Before their transition to the White House, the Obama family was firmly rooted in Chicago.
Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, girl of the South Side. For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend. You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor. You made the White House a place that belongs to everybody. And a new generation sets its sights higher because it has you as a role model. So you have made me proud, and you have made the country proud.
Barack Obama, a rising star in the political world, had established himself as a state senator and later a U.S. senator. Michelle Obama, with her background in law and public service, was a successful professional in her own right. Their lives, though busy, were relatively private compared to the intense scrutiny that came with the presidency. Malia, born in 1998, and Sasha, born in 2001, were children enjoying a typical suburban life in the vibrant city of Chicago, balancing school, family activities, and growing up in an environment that was nurturing yet still shielded from the national stage. The moment Barack Obama won the 2008 presidential election, everything changed.
Stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
The Obamas' move into the White House was not just a shift in residence, but a seismic change in their daily lives. For Malia and Sasha, this meant leaving behind their familiar surroundings, friends, and school in Chicago. The transition was multifaceted. It involved adapting to a new home, adjusting to the intense public attention, and navigating the security measures that accompanied their father's new role.
Being your First Lady has been the greatest honor of my life, and I hope I've made you proud. Thank you. So for all the young people in this room and those who are watching, know that this country belongs to you, to all of you. Do not ever let anyone make you feel like you don't matter or like you don't have a place in our American story, because you do. And you have a right to be exactly who you are. I want our young people to know that they matter, that they belong. So don't be afraid. You hear me? Young people, don't be afraid. Be focused.
Adjusting to life in the White House was a challenge for the Obama sisters. The historic residence, with its grand rooms and formal setting, was a far cry from the family home they had known. Malia and Sasha were thrust into the public eye, their every move watched by a global audience. The Secret Service became an integral part of their lives, providing security but also limiting their freedom. Simple activities like going out with friends or attending school events required meticulous planning and coordination with the security team, which often impacted their sense of normalcy. Michelle Obama, with her deep commitment to her family, took an active role in managing the transition for her daughters. She was determined to maintain a semblance of normalcy for Malia and Sasha, despite their new high-profile status. Michelle, who had always valued education and stability, worked tirelessly to ensure that her daughters continued their schooling with as little disruption as possible. She was deeply involved in selecting their schools and advocating for their well-being amidst the upheaval of living in the White House. One of the significant challenges the Obama sisters faced was the intense media scrutiny. As the children of the president, their lives were under constant surveillance, and their private moments were often publicized. This scrutiny ranged from the innocent, like their fashion choices and school activities, to the more invasive aspects of their personal lives.
Be empowered. And when you encounter obstacles, because I guarantee you, you will, and many of you already have, when you are struggling and you start thinking about giving up, I want you to remember something that my husband and I have talked about since we first started this journey nearly a decade ago. Something that has carried us through every moment in this White House and every moment of our lives. And that is the power of hope. The belief that something better is always possible if you're willing to work for it and fight for it, because that is what moves this country forward every single day. Our hope for the future and the hard work that hope inspires. So that's my final message to young people as First Lady. It is simple.
The media attention was not just an inconvenience, but a source of stress that had to be managed carefully to avoid overwhelming the young girls. Despite these challenges, Malia and Sasha adapted to their new environment with resilience. Their educational experiences were particularly notable. Malia attended the private Sidwell Friends School, known for its strong academic reputation and a focus on holistic development. This school, with its emphasis on a well-rounded education, provided a supportive environment for her to continue her studies while dealing with the pressures of her unique situation. Sasha, too, attended Sidwell Friends, where she could benefit from the same supportive academic environment. Michelle Obama's memoir, Becoming, offers a detailed glimpse into the family's life during these years. In the memoir, Michelle reflects on the challenges and joys of raising her daughters in the White House. She discusses the ways in which she and Barack worked to provide their children with a sense of normalcy and the importance of maintaining their values despite the pressures of public life. Michelle's candid reflections offer insight into her parenting philosophy and the ways in which she navigated the complexities of her role as both a mother and First Lady.
I realize because we generally just don't include the girls, we've tried to normalize their lives as much as possible. So a lot of the stuff we do, they're like regular kids. They're running in the opposite direction of what we do. They're not here now. They're trying to hang with their friends. But I realized that they hadn't been to a state dinner. Now, all these years, they had never been to a state dinner. So I thought, you know, when they look back on this time, when they are talking to their kids, and they're like, Mom, did you ever go to a state dinner? And they'd say no. I would feel pretty bad about that. So we thought we're going to invite them to one, and they got to do the big girl dress-up thing.
One of the more publicized aspects of the Obama sisters' lives was their involvement in various public events. They attended state functions, participated in charitable activities, and occasionally made appearances with their parents. These public moments, while often well-received, also added to the pressure of growing up in the spotlight. Malia and Sasha were not merely passive participants in these events. They were active, engaging individuals who navigated the complexities of their roles with a remarkable degree of grace. Malia's gap year, a period before she began her studies at Harvard University, was a particularly notable chapter in her life.
To sit through the other inauguration. But I tell the story because that day was so crazy, because
you invited them over for tea and was
well,
so
we did that, but there was also the mother moments, right? Because the truth is, on that day, I was moving my children out of the only house they had really grown up in, and I think that gets lost on people. And Malia and Sasha were in 2nd and 5th grade. Yeah. They spent all of their years in that White House. Yes, a very strange and crazy little house, but that was their home.
Yes.
So while you're transitioning out, the transition happens so quickly. It's like you don't even get to move your furniture out until the new president takes the oath of office.
During this time, she traveled and worked on various projects, gaining valuable experiences outside the traditional academic setting. This decision reflected her parents' emphasis on broadening one's horizons and exploring the world beyond the classroom. Malia's gap year was a time for self-discovery and personal growth.
About who liked me and who thought I was cute when I was your age, I wouldn't be married to the President of the United States today if I didn't work hard in school and have the opportunity to go to college and then on to law school. I wouldn't be here. So I think it's imperative, and it is part of my passion and my mission to make sure that every girl on the planet has the same opportunity that I've had, that my daughters have, and I want to make sure that all of you here in the United States are taking advantage of the opportunities that you have as well. I want you to be that hungry to get your education because it is going to be the key to your future.
Allowing her to step back from the intense public scrutiny and focus on her own interests and aspirations. Sasha's experiences, though less publicized, were also marked by significant personal development. Her transition to college life at the University of Michigan marked another milestone in her journey.
What you'll come to realize one day is that you're only seeing what you lack, and not everything that your story has given you. His absence will hit you like a rock. It'll cause you to rethink everything about yourself and your future. But don't worry, you won't have to go through any of this alone. It will be easy to think you're something special.
As she pursued her studies, Sasha navigated the complexities of college life while continuing to manage the expectations and pressures that came with her family's high profile. The Obama family's legacy is a significant factor in understanding Malia and Sasha's experiences. Growing up in the White House provided them with unique opportunities, but it also came with significant challenges.
And you always will be. And I can't wait for you to see that. Learn that even the best relationships take work. But that's okay. That's normal. And it's what gives your partnership its strength.
The values instilled in them by their parents, the emphasis on education, and the need for personal resilience shaped their approach to life and their future ambitions. The Obamas' legacy, encompassing their achievements, challenges, and personal values, has left an indelible mark on Malia and Sasha, influencing their paths as they move forward into adulthood.
You can barely process it. Yet you'll still struggle to find a balance between your family, your husband's rising career, and your own sense of self. Be patient. You'll get there. And just when you think you've done it, the four of you will be shot out of a cannon into the unknown, but have so much to offer the world.
In conclusion, the lives of Malia and Sasha Obama offer a compelling narrative of growing up in one of the most scrutinized families in the world. Their experiences reflect the broader challenges of balancing public life with personal growth, the impact of parental values, and the resilience required to navigate such a unique upbringing. The Obama sisters' journey from their early years in Chicago to their time in the White House and beyond is a testament to their strength and adaptability. Their story, shaped by their family's legacy and their own personal experiences, continues to resonate as they forge their paths into the future.
But I am not reaching out to anyone asking for money, so please do not send money to these.
Jason Momoa just revealed a shocking truth about Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is not a new name in Hollywood. She doesn't need any introduction, as she has become one of the most successful talk show hosts. Oprah is a media mogul, a philanthropist, but everyone who seems to have had an encounter with her keeps saying behind her warm smile and inspiring words, there's this part of her we don't know about. From heated exchanges with celebrities like Angelina Jolie and Ludacris to accusations of manipulation and insensitivity. But what's more shocking now and unbelievable is what Jason Momoa, our Aquaman, disclosed about Oprah following the Maui fire incident.
I wanted to inform everyone that there's been some people on Instagram pretending to be me, asking for money.
You know, everything is not shown on camera, so what's really going on behind the scene? And what did Jason finally expose? Join us in this video as we share this revelation. The unbelievable revelation about Oprah Winfrey. Two of Hollywood's most beloved stars, Jason Momoa and Oprah Winfrey, have been making headlines recently. But this time, it's not for their latest projects or philanthropic efforts. Instead, it's for a shocking revelation that has left us stunned. Oprah is well known for her tough but fair interviews and has had her share of celebrity feuds over the years. Oprah's reputation has faced numerous challenges. However, nothing could have prepared us for her latest controversy, a shocking incident involving the Maui wildfire incident that has sparked outrage and accusations of displacement and insensitivity towards indigenous communities, with none other than Jason Momoa leading the charge. The Aquaman star recently opened up about his experiences with Oprah, revealing a shocking truth that has left fans reeling. How true is this? And what exactly did Oprah do this time? Keep watching to find out. It's not a new thing for Oprah to find herself at the center of controversy and serious drama. Over the years, she has had her heated arguments with different celebrities. This is much expected, but Whitney seems to be the problem all the time. Many fans said they liked her at first, then she changed. Like in the case of Angelina Jolie, Winfrey was left surprised when Angelina refused to donate for a project. It was during her launching of Oprah Winfrey Academy for Girls in South Africa that she was expecting Angelina's support because she loves to take part in projects like that one. She was known for her humanitarian work, but surprisingly, she turned Oprah down. Many said it's because Oprah took sides with Jennifer Aniston, and Angelina happened to be with Jennifer's ex-husband, fair enough, but their relationship has been hostile since then. Another one was with Rachel Ray. According to sources, the two had a heated exchange where Oprah allegedly accused Rachel of using racist language in a conversation. But when confronted about the incident, Rachel Ray denied ever having such a conversation with Oprah. But insiders claim that the tension between the two has been building for years, with Oprah taking issue with Rachel's use of certain language. Oprah felt that Rachel was being insensitive and dismissive of the struggles faced by people of color. The incident has left fans and the public divided, with some supporting Oprah's stance and others defending Rachel's character. We didn't even know whose side to be on anymore. One thing was certain. After these incidents, the Rachel and Oprah relationship was forever gone. Whatever they shared, that was the end. Oprah's case with Chris Pine left everyone shocked. Her reputation for speaking her mind has sometimes led to friction with some of Hollywood's A-list. One of such is with Chris Pine, the Star Trek actor known for his charming on-screen presence. Oprah and Chris had a tense encounter with Pine. Details of the encounter remain scarce, as Chris Pine has remained tight-lipped about the incident. He refuses to talk much about it. He said he didn't want to say much about it, so he wouldn't end up saying things he might regret. In all speculations and fans talking, Chris Pine has continued to maintain a dignified silence on the matter. His refusal to engage in a public feud has only added to this, leaving fans wondering what really happened between them. Oprah never stops to make headlines. And again, guess who left with a sour taste in his mouth in Oprah's show? It was rapper and actor Ludacris. He came on the show to promote a movie. Ludacris felt that Oprah had unfairly edited their conversation to make it seem like he was endorsing her views while omitting his own thoughts and opinions. Ludacris was reportedly taken aback by the editing, feeling that Oprah had manipulated their conversation to suit her own agenda. Yes, it was her show, but certain things should be done properly. He said he initially came to the show to promote the film and not talk about his rapping career, but Oprah didn't seem to be going on the same path. And now, it's Jason Momoa's turn. The actor, who has been vocal about his love for his home state of Hawaii, recently spoke out about the devastating fires that have been ravaging the island of Maui. The fire that ravaged the island of Maui left a trail of destruction and heartbreak. The flames swept through the land with unrelenting force. The devastation is almost unimaginable. Homes reduced to ashes, families displaced, and livelihoods lost. The emotional toll is just as severe, with many residents struggling to come to terms with the loss of their beloved island paradise. Jason made headlines following the video he posted, telling tourists to stay away from Maui following this devastated wildfire. He emphasized the need for locals to have access to essential resources without the burden of tourists during this critical time, and surprisingly, Oprah happens to purchase a property. Jason's issue is with Oprah's decision to purchase a house in Maui, which he feels has displaced indigenous communities still reeling from the devastating fires. He believes that Oprah's purchase has further marginalized the native people, who are struggling to recover from the disaster. And that's not all. Jason's annoyance is also on Oprah, and Dwayne acts on camera, speaking of donating money concerning this incident. He clearly stated that it's deeply heartbreaking and disgusting to know that there are people attempting to take advantage of this tragedy. In his opinion, he sees it as pure evil and a way of stealing money from the poor.
On Instagram, pretending to be me, asking for money. Pure evil, in my opinion.
Not mentioning names, he clearly called them scammers. But we know he was talking about Oprah and Dwayne Act, because who else came out talking about donations? Oprah said she has created the People's Fund of Maui that will put money directly in the hands of the people who need it. It got many people talking, saying it is a phony SOS for making money. Many even say Oprah alone could help the survivors rebuild and still have more money than she could ever spend if she really wanted to help. This recent incident has got the public talking and even citing other incidents, including her shows, with many saying she wasn't even generous, and she had other companies and people donate the things she gave away on her shows. This controversy has shown the complex issues surrounding celebrities. Jason Momoa will continue to use his platform to bring attention to the causes he cares about, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Fans have expressed their disappointment, stating that they initially admired Oprah but felt she had changed over time. Some have criticized her for being hypocritical, citing instances where she preached empathy and understanding but failed to practice what she preached. Others have accused her of using her platform to publicly shame and humiliate those she disagrees with, rather than engaging in constructive dialogue. It seems like no matter what Oprah Winfrey does, she can't escape the scrutiny of the public eye. Is it just that Oprah's unapologetic commitment to speaking her truth and living her life on her own terms is what sparks the flames of criticism? Maybe she is just a complex, multifaceted human being worthy of understanding. What do you think of Oprah? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. Also, click on the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it. Caitlin Clark's millionaire lifestyle includes living in a luxury home, driving expensive cars, and enjoying designer clothes. She often takes lavish vacations, attends exclusive events, and hosts high-profile gatherings, reflecting her success and wealth.
I'm wearing Armani dress, Versace shoes, Versace bag, Tiffany bracelets, and Tiffany necklace, Cartier earrings.
Here's a moment when Caitlin Clark is seen wearing high-end brands, demonstrating her refined taste and preference for luxury fashion.
I went with Prada. I think Prada's like very me, very like, I don't know, I'm a pretty simple girl, but Prada's never dressed a WNBA player or NBA player for the draft, so it's very fun. Got the simple white and then sparkly on the inside, but yeah, really fun. Got the bag, got the slick shoes, so yeah.
Caitlin Clark has been making history both on and off the court.
Caitlin Clark is making history both on and off the court. The 22-year-old athlete stepped out in a monochromatic Prada set for the WNBA draft, making her the first athlete the Italian luxury fashion house has dressed, male or female, for the NBA or WNBA draft.
Great day for some golf. I never golf this early in the morning.
She grew up in Des Moines, where she spent countless hours playing golf and honing her skills on the local courses.
I grew up in Des Moines and I played there a ton. And honestly, I try to get back there as much as I can to play with my family. My dad plays a lot, my older brother plays a lot. So, you know, it's super fun. Today we're here, Finkbine Golf Course, 2v2 scramble, me and Spence versus Will and Kate. Me and Spence obviously gonna win, so here we go. We're very competitive people. We love to compete, whether it's on the basketball court or if it's out here. I think it just adds a fun element to golf.
People who know Caitlin often say that she is incredibly goofy and always making jokes, bringing a lighthearted vibe to any situation.
They would probably just say I'm like super goofy. Like I just make like, I don't know, jokes all the time. And I don't think people always understand that. Like when I'm on the court, like I'm competitive, I'm like passionate.
When she's off the court, Caitlin understands that life is about more than just basketball.
But like when I'm off the court, like I understand like there's more to life than just basketball, and you like get that. Like there's more to life than wrestling. Like just understanding that and enjoying every single day. And like, as you know, college goes fast. Like it can't be all serious all the time, so.
Caitlin doesn't collect shoes, but she still owns a lot of them.
I don't collect. I have a lot of shoes. I have a lot of like
kind of like trendy shoes, like Nike shoes. My mom gets mad when I buy new pairs, but like, here's the thing. My mom loves shoes too, so I probably get it from her.
Yeah, you do.
She says the shoes tie the outfit together. So I'm like, whenever she's like, Caitlin, you have to stop buying shoes. I'm like, Mom, you have no room to talk. And then she just laughs. But yeah, honestly, like, we get a lot of shoes from Iowa, basketball and tennis shoes. So like, I don't need to buy shoes, but you know, everybody needs some good pairs of shoes.
What kind of shoes does Caitlin wear for basketball?
When you pick your shoe for basketball, do you go the Kobe's? Do you go the Jordans? What is your shoe?
Recently, KD's.
Okay.
His latest one, those were very comfortable. It's probably my favorite. They're almost like a mid-sole one, so they weren't low, but they weren't high. So like kind of protected your ankle a little more. I had quite a few pairs of those this year. It was really fun. I had a really good time. I thought I did a little better on the front nine. Wasn't as tired. Kind of got really tired on the back nine, but it was really fun. I appreciate all the Hawkeye fans that were out there today. A lot of people that support the Hawks, support women's basketball, so that was super cool to see. But just enjoying it because it's different for me. This is a little out of my comfort zone.
It's particularly special for Caitlin to face off against the Ryder Cup captain in a golf match, as it presents a unique opportunity to compete against a prominent figure in the sport.
So just tried to have fun with it, and obviously when you get to golf against, the Ryder Cup captain, not many people get that opportunity, so it's pretty special.
What do you do outside of basketball?
Oh, well, during basketball season, I don't have a ton of time, but my favorite spring, summer activity is golf. Yeah, I love to go play.
I'm sure you're not competitive at all.
No, I'm not competitive at all. I obviously just like to do it because it's fun, and why else would I do it? I just love to go out there. If I have a bad hit, I don't care at all. But no, I'm super competitive, and honestly, we have a couple other girls on the team that like to play, a couple coaches that like to play, managers, so it gets competitive. It's usually not like us just all going out there and shooting our own score. It's 2v2, best ball. It's obviously going to be competitive in some way. So I would say that's my favorite activity when I'm not in basketball season. I remember getting my first set of golf clubs for one of my birthdays when I was really young. My dad got it for me. It was an all pink bag, all pink clubs, and my dad would always take me when we were younger. I probably started playing golf when I was 3rd or 4th grade. I mean, I was terrible. I couldn't hit it off the ground, but I loved doing anything that was competitive. So even though I was bad, I just kept really working hard at it.
What time's the alarm normally set for Caitlin Clark's world?
I like that.
Well, during school, I'd probably get up 8:30 every day. Depending on when I had class, I had 8 a.m.s twice a week. But other than that, probably 8:30. But now that I'm home and I have nothing, I've been sleeping until 9:30 every day. I feel
Embrace it while you can.
I feel like a bum when I get out of bed. I'm like, I wasted half the day, Mom. Why didn't you wake me up?
No, that's your body telling you need it. Trust me.
It's been good.
What is your favorite season and why?
Ooh, I'd go fall. Just because, I love summer and I love winter, but just the two combined. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. Football, basketball is just starting up again. It's my favorite. Outside is just so beautiful. It's definitely my favorite.
Caitlin usually replies to her family's texts as quickly as possible, making sure to stay connected and maintain strong relationships despite her busy schedule.
I usually just text my family back as fast as I can, but other than that, I usually am off my phone for quite a bit after the game because we have media and stuff like that, but I'm usually not in a rush to respond to people and stuff.
You guys are all going to dinner as a team. Who are you waiting on the longest to get ready?
Honestly, Monica. She's kind of slow sometimes. Yeah.
If you had a hypothetical kid, who would you not let babysit that kid?
Hannah Stolke, for sure. A lot of people probably said me, though, but I'm really good with kids. We have a lot of babies in the program. Coach Abby just had a baby, our strength coach did. And I love being around them. I take care of them, but I'm going Hannah Stolke.
Why is that?
Just kind of all over the place. Freshman, hasn't really figured it out yet. Probably one of the funniest people I've ever met. But with a kid, I don't know.
Her satin miniskirt and jacket, bedazzled two-top, and black pumps were well received by many, including Caitlin's boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey. Responding to a fan on X when asked his reaction to Caitlin's slam dunk fit, Connor dropped 3 emojis, including the jaw-dropping and drooling face. Caitlin responded a simple teary-eyed emoji. The college basketball it girl was the #1 draft pick and was picked up by the Indiana Fever.
When she was younger, she was terrified of cats, often feeling uneasy around them and avoiding them whenever possible.
When I was younger, I was terrified of cats. Like, I can deal with them a little now.
You can deal.
A little.
I don't really love them anymore, but like, I do not like cats.
Why?
What freaks you out about him?
There was this really mean one on my street growing up. So like, its name was Jinx, and it was black with green eyes, and I just did not like that thing. So to my neighbors, if you hear this, I'm sorry. Like, Jinx just wasn't my favorite.
Jinx went missing. Like, we have no idea what happened.
So you tell all the roommates no cats allowed, right?
Heck no. Like, my roommate, I'm roommates with Kylie, who's on our team too.
Yeah.
She would never get a cat. I think she knows I don't like cats. I'm a huge dog person.
Say, are you a dog person?
Huge dog person. We have a golden retriever at home.
Honestly, I watch a lot of golf. I think over the years, definitely Jordan Spieth's probably my favorite. Justin Thomas. On the girls' side, I like Nelly Korda. She's really good. That's weird. It says like 180 for a second, and it goes to 144. If I had to pick a foursome for my team, I'd go Kate, myself. Then I'd go probably Catherine Reynolds. She golfs. She's our director of basketball operations. And then I would probably go Coach Raina because she's pretty good at golf and she's super funny. So she'd be good entertainment on the course.
A lot of people, they now want cars from you. Will you be able to deliver?
Cars. Oh, because my Buick deal?
Yeah.
I don't know about cars. I was joking with one of our managers. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get you a minivan. I think you'd be really cute driving a minivan, but no, I wish I got a car. I got them all headphones, though, with my Bose deal, which was fun. They all love those. So we're all going to have matching headphones going to this tournament.
What shoe have you not rocked that you want to rock? You come back in, long game, into the locker room, you can crush any meal. What are you picking?
Chicken parm, pasta, and a big glass of chocolate milk.
Here's a list of the shows and movies Caitlin Clark watches on Netflix.
All right, your Netflix queues up. What are we watching?
Okay, so season 4 of You just came out.
Oh.
Outer Banks is about to come out, but also the new show about the PGA Tour is about to come out, where they were behind the scenes of the PGA Tour all of last year. So I'm super excited about that one on Netflix.
Outer Banks, isn't that like a romance?
Yes, it's a cheesy high school show basically, but that's kind of like what I like.
Yeah, we had Dawson's Creek. Did you ever hear that one?
I don't know if I've ever seen that, but like my favorite show of all time is One Tree Hill.
Oh, okay,
Did you
same
watch
thing.
that? Yeah, basketball. You got the love, romance, high school drama. I remember, like, that was my favorite show.
Love watching Netflix when I have downtime or just chilling. When I have time, like cooking meals at home or baking. You know, I grew up with my mom, who's a super good cook, so I learned some things from her.
Music.
Okay.
What are you bumping to when you're warming up?
Okay, this is probably gonna be surprising to a lot of people, but I go more like calm music when I'm like warming up because I'm already so like amped and juiced for the game that I don't need to keep adding to it. So I'm going more like calm music, like country music is usually what I pick. You know, it's not like super slow. It's not like I'm trying to go to sleep, but it's like, you know, you're not getting more amped than you already are.
Is there a food you have to like stay away from?
Honestly, not really. I'm not a very picky person. I don't like mushrooms. I don't like anything like super fancy. Like I kind of just like the basics, but I don't know. I'm not picky really. I'll eat basically anything.
We're not going to make it here unless you come and help us.
I know the mindset of the players that I have the opportunity and honor to coach, and they want to win. Fun is winning.
Appreciate everything that they've done, and for them to have this moment too and be a part of it, like it's just super cool.
Cheryl Miller has 3 Indiana Fever teams under her belt.
So we're here at the WNBA All-Star Game. She's the head coach of Team WNBA. All right, you got 3 Fever players on your team. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston. You've been able to watch these guys from afar.
Yeah.
What's your perspective been of how they've been trending and just them individually as well?
I will say one thing. I did not count on their basketball IQ being that high. I knew it was high, obviously, because they play at this level.
Indiana has a promising future ahead, with lots of potential for success.
But it's one thing to know knowledge, it's another thing to talk about and speak and then put it into pieces and places. But it was a great collaboration with all the players, but Indiana has a very, very bright future.
For being how young they are, too.
Basketball IQ isn't just about knowing the game. It's about learning and improving quickly.
That basketball IQ speaks volumes.
It not only speaks volumes, it's one thing to be young and they're learning how to play the game and they're learning about their mistakes and how to correct them faster. And so they're making those game, in-game and out-of-game adjustments.
Cheryl is confident that they will mature and improve as they continue playing.
The only thing I see that's going to happen the older they get is how to stop the run sometimes and how to change, the momentum during games. But this is not a team people want to play, because not only are they getting better, but they're confident and they show no fear. They're fearless.
Yeah, we love that. We love that. That's probably what contributed to them having such a successful end to that first half.
From the players' perspective, it's going to be a fiercely competitive game between the WNBA and the USA team.
All right, now we're going to transition to tomorrow, Team USA. All right, it's not just your regular year, it's an Olympic year. The intensity is high. That's what we heard from the players earlier. What's your mindset going in?
My mindset is their mindset. So it's all fun and games until the ball is tossed up. And then it's on. And these guys are competitors at both ends. And we're just going to go out there and give it a great show.
The real insults come from Kamala herself, don't they? Because she insults our intelligence every time she sits down for even a friendly interview.
Laura Ingraham tackles the ultimate insult to the American people.
It could not have been a softer interview and presentation. The only missing line or missing question was, do you like long walks on the beach? She could reveal that as well. And as for the one-on-one with liberal billionaire Oprah Winfrey, if there was such a thing as a verbal foot rub, this would be it.
It seems to us that something happened to you the moment President Biden, stepped aside and withdrew his candidacy, that a veil or something dropped.
With Kamala Harris's failures on economic policies and border security becoming impossible to ignore.
Now, we have to remember, Harris has always benefited in her career from special treatment, including in this campaign. Now, she didn't have to go to win the Iowa caucuses or tramp through the snows of New Hampshire to convince voters there. And she doesn't have to do press conferences with hostile reporters, as Trump does. She hasn't had to explain her policy toward China or Russia. Her role is simply to repeat platitudes and memorize phrases.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American.
Her press team has resorted to recycling tired, worn-out lines from 2016 and 2020.
I thought she said we were systemically racist. How do you take pride in that kind of country? And hope that the hundreds of millions of dollars that she's raised from millionaires and billionaires are going to be enough to drown out Trump's message of peace and prosperity. That's what they're hoping for. And if she wins, the establishment's going to make use of this template for all future campaigns, where the voters are kept in the dark, receive no assurances about anything, and they just simply dine out on celebrity endorsements and personality plays. This is a complete rejection of the democratic process from the phony defenders of democracy. And it's one big insult to all of us.
But as Laura points out, the real insults don't come from Donald Trump, whose jabs at political figures have become part of his brand, but from Kamala Harris herself.
But then came the surprise questions, and they were really kind of tough. Like, how are you going to reduce the high cost of living?
I'd love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways.
Laura highlights how Kamala's media presence often feels more like a shallow attempt at charm than an opportunity to provide substantive answers. She mocks Harris's interviews as overly simplistic and superficial, noting how these moments often come off as scripted performances rather than genuine conversations.
far more elusive, the American, what? I love how she acts like some external force caused inflation, by the way, not her and Joe's idiotic spending bills. Now, that's insulting, and it's also arrogant to believe that Americans should vote for you even as you are unwilling or maybe unable to explain your policies.
According to Laura, Kamala's reluctance to directly answer questions on key topics like inflation and border security reflects a broader issue. Instead of offering clear solutions, Harris often leans on vague and recycled talking points. This, Ingram argues, shows either a lack of understanding or a refusal to engage with the reality of the country's problems.
Her answers kind of remind me of that college kid who, when called on by the professor, hasn't done the class reading, so he or she just merely restates the question posed, as Kamala did on the question of how she's going to fix the border.
Laura also points out the hypocrisy in Harris's public persona, calling out the inconsistency between her statements and the actual effects of her policies.
At this point, Oprah's got to be thinking to herself, man, I just should have run for president myself. It would have been easier than live coaching this woman. Now, every exchange was an easy Kamala layup. And by the end of the interminable 68 minutes, Oprah had allowed Harris to kind of rebrand herself from an anti-Second Amendment fanatic to a modern-day Annie Oakley.
Whether it's on issues like public safety or economic hardship, Ingraham accuses Harris of offering empty reassurances that fail to address the struggles Americans face every day. Laura Ingraham sees Harris's entire approach as a calculated effort to avoid accountability.
I'm sure they would have thought it was just perfect for Trump to laugh if he said someone would get shot if it came into his own. They would have, they would have said, oh, it's heartless, you have no compassion. What if you shoot the wrong person? This is just more insults to our intelligence. And of course, it was all calculated, but it was poorly carried out rebranding. Kamala's just like you. But then you think to yourself, I don't speak like the words of one of those lame motivational posters hanging in your company break room.
By relying on friendly interviews and scripted performances, Harris tries to rebrand herself without ever addressing the core issues that matter most to voters.
The freedom to just be. I love how Oprah goes, Note her use of the phrase, how we came into being there. And again, the freedom to be. Freedom to be, unless you're one of the infants in the womb who's aborted in Kamala's dreamland. And speaking of that, today she uttered more insulting drivel about abortion in Atlanta. Her language was crafted specifically to mislead the public.
To Laura, this strategy isn't just dishonest. It's insulting to the American people, who deserve real answers and leadership, not hollow platitudes and superficial campaigns.
Most vulnerable among us? How about those who can't yet speak for themselves? How condescending, though. Condescending to women, who, by the way, are poorer than they were 4 years ago, are less safe than they were on the streets 4 years ago, and less confident in the future than they were 4 years ago. But Kamala's crack group of high-paid pollsters and consultants believe that women's first, second, and third most important concerns are abortion, more abortion.
Laura Ingraham doesn't hold back as she continues to dissect what she sees as Kamala Harris's superficial strategy.
We already know about the elites here at home who are doing everything in their power to defeat Trump. There's billionaire Alex Soros, who met with Tim Walz yesterday. He appeared to be in his favorite genuflect position. Then there's billionaire Mark Cuban, who it seems is incapable of measured thought about Trump's enduring popularity.
She focuses on how Harris's avoidance of tough questions and reliance on rehearsed responses are meant to distract from the vice president's lack of real achievements. According to Laura, this method not only undermines the role of leadership, but also signals a clear disregard for the concerns of everyday Americans. Ingram criticizes Harris's preference for controlled environments, where she's only faced with easy, pre-approved questions.
That are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on anti-Trump ads and lawsuits. Huge donor money also flows to smear groups staffed by Never Trump hatchet men. But Trump doesn't just have to beat all of them and their money. He's also up against the global elites who love having a weak U.S. president in place who puts foreign interests before America's. That's why they love Biden.
Laura emphasizes that the American people deserve better, someone who is willing to face tough questions head-on, rather than hiding behind media personalities and celebrities who shield her from scrutiny. To Laura, this approach is not only evasive, but manipulative. It creates a false image of competence while ignoring the harsh realities of failed policies that have worsened the economy and left the border in disarray.
It's really, really, really unfortunate that she could not see that question coming. I mean, a child could have told you that after a former president was nearly killed a second time, you might want to be ready for the question of how many times does it take before you make sure that you've got the protection around him per the White House that looks like a president currently, because that's what it's going to take. You'd think she'd be ready for that. I immediately got on X and said, there's never a hatchack around when you need.
Harris Faulkner, a well-respected journalist and anchor for Fox News, has recently found herself in the spotlight due to a combination of her impactful reporting and public discussions surrounding her comments and professional choices.
How are we supposed to trust the Secret Service to investigate themselves if they won't even tell us who they're investigating? Thankfully, whistleblowers are leaking. The New York Times is reporting the lead agent in charge of security at the Butler rally is Meredith Bank.
The lane she was dangerously weaving and bobbing and going into, and that's where she didn't want to go, but she couldn't help herself because the answer to the question was she doesn't want to stop saying he's not a threat.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to stop saying he's a threat, rather, because that's how Democrats see it, a threat to democracy. It's their talking point. And they haven't thought it through. Well, could that be part of the problem of why he's in danger? If they have thought it through, then they're complicit. And if they haven't, they're really naive.
As a trailblazer in the field, Faulkner has long been known for her engaging interview style and insightful analysis of current events.
So Peter calls her out on it. She's upset, calls him dangerous for the question. I call her dangerous for the answer. Stop calling Donald Trump a threat. I mean, people have tried to kill him more than once now.
However, the past few weeks have brought new developments that have sparked conversations among viewers and media commentators alike.
Yeah, exactly. And it's dangerous for Peter to ask a question of the federal government. You can't do that. It's also dangerous for J.D. Vance to question the media. Now, despite the second attempt on Trump's life, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre doubled down on referring to Trump as a threat.
One of the primary reasons Harris Faulkner has been in the news is her candid discussions regarding race and representation in media. Faulkner, who is of African-American descent, has openly addressed the importance of diversity in journalism.
Look, if you're feeling this economy, there's no way that you're buying what they're selling right now.
Absolutely.
So the polling is inflated. It always is. It's a brand new, shiny new object. And,
That's right.
and Barack and Michelle last night were really selling it for Kamala and so on and so forth. Well, they pretty much had to because she was next door at a fundraiser in Wisconsin.
Right.
America's better than
It's
this.
a true point.
Yes,
we have
spot on.
sovereignty as a nation. I
Spot
don't
on.
care how you vote.
Thank you.
I don't care what you think. What I know is this is the United States of America, and if they broke laws to get here, don't spend another dime on them. Deport them. What did we get yesterday? We got more of what she says on the campaign. I was watching you guys earlier. You can do the side-by-sides and see how she keeps repeating herself and so on. My big question today is, you had, and look, this is no disrespect to Eugene and Garen and Tanya who were doing the job. You did not have network anchors up there, though, who do TV every day. And it was a different feel about it, or at least do that pressure cooker type of what we do.
The big stars in the party carry her flag for her, and the media does, some of them too.
In light of the ongoing national conversations about racial equality and representation, her insights have resonated with many viewers.
Primetime looked all over the internet. New York Times is reporting the lead agent in charge of security at the Butler rally is Meredith Bank. Primetime looked all over the internet for information about Meredith Bank. No photos, no bio, it's all gone. Now, we don't know how qualified Agent Bank is. Was she one of the female agents that former director Kimberly Cheadle was promoting with her DEI agenda? We don't know. Was she one of the female agents that was promoted even after failing tests? We don't know. But Butler was a test, and she failed it.
It never goes well. You know, this guy served his country and worked hard all his life. No wonder CNN sees him as the problem.
You know, for those who didn't see, Carly, J.D. Vance brought constituent complaints to his interview. She can fact check them, you know, fine. That's what the media can do. But then he questioned Dana Bash, giving multiple choice questions to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, contrasting it with his interview where he was constantly interrupted. And it's not dangerous for him to question the media.
Here's a tip, lady. Never interview a guy with a beer in one hand and a Solo cup in the other.
During her segments, Faulkner has emphasized the need for a variety of voices in media, advocating for greater inclusivity within the industry. Recently, Faulkner hosted a special segment on Fox News dedicated to the achievements and challenges faced by Black Americans.
Yeah,
I mean,
what a shame.
Who gets a pass like that?
What a disappointment the media has been for all of us, really letting down the American people.
Saw in Chicago is their annual conference. So any venue that they would have booked by NWJ would have been much larger than, you know, basically a campaign stop. And by the way, NWJ promised, it came out in all of its language, that this was a journalism event and that this was not politics. On all the campaign materials, this was a campaign stop.
Well, I'm a little concerned about when you get 51 experts and they have anything to do with our economy, our national security. How often are they this wrong?
Yes.
I mean, we happen to know about this time, but if these are the people that they're consulting on a regular basis, it might explain a lot of the failure that we see.
His commentary tends to focus on freedom of speech, cancel culture, and what he sees as the encroachment of political correctness on personal liberties. Gutfeld's style is more relaxed and conversational, aiming to make serious topics more accessible and entertaining without losing the substance of his arguments. Kayleigh McEnany, on the other hand, brings a more structured and formal approach to her political analysis.
And should we maybe bump some of those people out of the circle? Like, you know, Biden promised that if somebody wasn't doing the right thing on day one, remember the 1,000-person Zoom or whatever it was? And he was saying, I'm going to get rid of whoever doesn't do their job or is not kind. And he had all the things. And of course, he hasn't really applied that promise. But this would be a place, well, maybe those are the people you shouldn't be listening to. And by the way, can you tell us where else they haven't been right so that we can prepare for that?
I am shocked by this because I didn't realize we'd migrated so far as a society that we would give criminals who potentially have come across the border illegally.
Liberal media pundits quickly claimed that Vice President Kamala Harris won Tuesday's debate. But it seemed undecided voters are not so sure. The New York Times reporting this. Voters said the vice president talked about a sweeping vision to fix the country's most stubborn problems, but they wanted the fine print.
Harris was hoping for Trump to hit that legal pothole in October, and now legally Trump has a clear road ahead. Reality is setting in, and Obama world is telling Democrats not to get your hopes up. They say it's very possible that if the election were held today, Trump would win. That's what we've been telling you. Democrat numbers guru Nate Silver says stop ignoring the elephant in the room. Quote, the Electoral College is starting to look like a challenge for Kamala. After a slew of what Silver calls mediocre polls for Harris, he's forecasting Trump winning every single battleground by 1 to 4 points. Silver gives Trump a 62% chance of winning. And the Clintons are sharpening their knives.
Greg Gutfeld brings a more satirical and irreverent tone to political commentary. As a co-host on The Five and host of his own late-night show, he blends humor with critique, often mocking both political figures and the media. Gutfeld's role is to provide a comedic yet insightful perspective, using humor to disarm and engage his audience. He often tackles the absurdities of political discourse, pointing out contradictions and the often performative nature of modern politics.
That felt really good. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So in Monday's TV address, President Biden appeared to have a spray tan. Aides say he tried using a tanning bed, but when they closed the lid, Dr. Jill kept throwing dirt and flowers on top.
And it was not just the New York Times that found that the debate was not a slam dunk for Harris. Reuters interviewed 10 people who were still unsure how they were going to vote in the November 5th election before they watched the debate. 6, that's about 60%, said afterwards that they would now neither vote for Trump or they were leaning toward backing him. 3 said they would now back Harris, and 1 was still unsure how he would vote.
Even Biden's going to watch Tuesday's debate with low expectations. His team thinks Kamala's public performances are uneven and often not reassuring. They worry she struggles under the glare of national pressure. They find her risk-averse to the point of paralysis.
As a former White House press secretary under the Trump administration, she draws on her experience to provide insider perspectives on political strategy and media relations. McEnany often defends conservative policies and leaders, particularly those of Donald Trump, while also critiquing what she sees as unfair media bias and misinformation.
Look, if you're feeling this economy, there's no way that you're buying what they're selling right now.
Absolutely.
So the polling is inflated. It always is. It's a brand new, shiny new object. And,
That's right.
and Barack and Michelle last night were really selling it for Kamala and so on and so forth. Well, they pretty much had to because she was next door at a fundraiser in Wisconsin.
Right.
America's better than
It's
this.
a true point.
Yes,
we have
spot
sovereignty as a nation.
Spot
I don't
on.
care how you vote.
Thank you.
I don't care what you think. What I know is this is the United States of America, and if they broke laws to get here, don't spend another dime on them. Deport them. What did we get yesterday? We got more of what she says on the campaign. I was watching you guys earlier. You can do the side-by-sides and see how she keeps repeating herself and so on. My big question today is, you had, and look, this is no disrespect to Eugene and Garen and Tanya who were doing the job. You did not have network anchors up there, though, who do TV every day. And it was a different feel about it, or at least do that pressure cooker type of what we do. The big stars in the party carry her flag for her, and the media does, some of them too.
Yeah,
I mean,
what a shame.
Who gets a pass like that?
What a disappointment the media has been for all of us, really letting down the American people.
Harris Faulkner just made an unexpected, huge announcement that has left her audience stunned. Known for her sharp commentary and insightful reporting, this revelation is something no one saw coming. With her poised and powerful delivery, Harris is addressing an issue that could have far-reaching implications, whether it's about her personal journey, a professional shift, or a bold stance on a major topic. This announcement is bound to spark conversation and leave a lasting impact on both her fans and critics alike. Stay tuned as Harris takes center stage in a way that's sure to surprise everyone.
Saw in Chicago is their annual conference. So any venue that they would have booked by NABJ would have been much larger than, basically a campaign stop. And by the way, NABJ promised, it came out in all of its language, that this was a journalism event and that this was not politics. On all the campaign materials, this was a campaign stop. Well, I'm a little concerned about when you get 51 experts and they have anything to do with our economy, our national security. How often are they this wrong?
Yes.
I mean, we happen to know about this time, but if these are the people that they're consulting on a regular basis, it might explain a lot of the failure that we see. And should we maybe bump some of those people out of the circle? Like, Biden promised that if somebody wasn't doing the right thing on day one, remember the 1,000-person Zoom or whatever it was? And he was saying, I'm going to get rid of whoever doesn't do their job or is not kind. And he had all the things. And of course, he hasn't really applied that promise. But this would be a place, well, maybe those are the people you shouldn't be listening to. And by the way, can you tell us where else they haven't been right so that we can prepare for that? I am shocked by this because I didn't realize we'd migrated so far as a society that we would give criminals who potentially have come across the border illegally the same rights that our people have, which have been mitigated so much by soft on crime policies. It's gotten so much easier for the criminals and so much harder for the victims. And now the people who break our number one law first coming across the border, number one thing, like you didn't even get here legally, and then they get to do more crime against us. And then you let them go per the things that are on the books for the criminals who are American. zero bail. Look no further than this case, and you know what's at stake for both of those presidential candidates Thursday night. It is Trump's border policies versus Biden's border politics. And if you want to know just how deep the politics go to the fact that even his Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas couldn't speak of one victim per name. Now, we've had enough of these situations that we're at a tipping point, I would imagine. Like, Biden's going to have to do more than just blame the Republicans. I don't know what Thursday night will look like, but on this Monday, that court, oh my goodness, they saw that mom who was so brave before the microphones today, sitting just feet away from one of the monsters who took her little girl. I remember that moment so vividly because it was the opposite of what anybody would do. Anybody would show you civility. This was July 31st. July 13th, he had been shot in the first assassination attempt on his life. The journalist couldn't even start there with, "We're glad you're okay. This is your first opportunity to talk with this group of people, and we're glad you've come today. You know that we're going to ask tough questions. You know that there might be some in the audience who wish that they were asking the tough questions right now." I think that's how you put it. So I am actually surprised and shocked that we have gotten that far. But I don't want to be surprised or shocked about what has to happen next.
Yep.
I want to feel confident that we're going to do the right thing. And that is, if we think these guys came over illegally, I don't know how you don't mention how to make life better here in Chicago. You had Chicago's golden son on the dais last night at that convention,
That's
Barack
right.
Obama.
Yes, that's right.
And I now call him the closer, the commander and closer, because it was his job to just close the door on Biden. Too bad it wasn't his job when he was in office not to close the door on crime, or at least draw attention to it in his own home city. And he missed that opportunity again last night. Look, she's not day one ready to fight the kind of crime that we're seeing here. It's worse here than it is in New York, at least statistically. It's less random here, perhaps, because it is in some certain concentrated areas. But murder is murder. And anybody can be a target. And we're seeing those numbers tick right back up. And it's really, really disconcerting when you're in the middle of it. The part that you didn't show was the very top of that, when we all sat down first. And the comment was from the ABC News reporter there, "This audience didn't want you here. Are you aware of that?" I'm paraphrasing it a bit. It was actually a little less pleasant than that. But that was first out of the gate. So it was hostile. It felt like an ambush. And look, he took the bait. Vice President Kamala Harris's past is haunting her now. She pushed to eliminate private health insurance and force 150 million people onto a government plan. Americans are waiting to hear exactly what her current plan will be for their health care. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. This is a big issue for so many people, particularly those who are retired and on a budget. You got to know whether or not you can keep your doctor. The campaign totally flip-flopping on her 2019 position when she was running for president the first time and didn't get a single delegate on her side of the aisle. A senior official is telling Fox News that the VP, quote, "will not push single payer or Medicare for all." There's no denying that. It turned into, right off the top, a pretty caustic situation. But what would any of us do if you think you're walking into making history at the NABJ, not by digital, not in a city that you would choose because it's on the campaign trail, Philadelphia, not any of that, but you're going into the largest audience of black journalists all year long. So that was big. Yeah, they're not any closer to getting the deal done. So unlike Trump, when he's asked the question about how you bring both sides in the Ukraine and Russia war, for instance, together, he would do it as president-elect. It would be a phone call. You watched the debate, you know.
Yeah.
No specificity on a place where, did you know that Washington State has 100,000 uncommitted voters from the primary? Like, I get it from Minnesota and Michigan, but that's a number that, so she might have wanted to reach out to that. Bottom line is, nobody pressed her. She didn't feel challenged. She sat back, seemed very comfortable, and that was different than how they treated the Republican candidate for the White House. Well, one thing that's different in past years, like 2016, 2020, is that people will talk to you about how they feel. So I think it's not just disingenuous, it's a lie.
Yeah.
When these leaders in the White House, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, say that they don't know how people feel and that suddenly it's news to her. You know how the polls are being impacted right now? They have a complicit legacy and liberal media to help them out.
That's right.
I mean, that's playing a role. And look, there are questions about, even with all of that, why is it so close?
Yeah.
Why can't she pull away? Because people see the truth, they're living it every day, and they still feel unheard. What is she saying there? I mean, it's the National Association of Black Journalists. When I asked Trump the first question I did, I said, look, there are many black communities. We're not all the same. We vote differently. We do things differently. I set it up in such a way that this is your audience. Why did she go there if she hadn't intended to talk specifically to a question that was asked about that audience? That was, look, if she didn't want to be there talking with whomever, that would be one thing. But black men in particular are a soft spot for her. And part of it is the lack of specificity around the idea of economics and how to change life. And, for people who are really suffering right now. Another area that I thought was a tender spot for her, though, was the Palestinian situation. Hamas versus Israel after Hamas invaded and had a massacre on October 7th against the citizens of Israel. You know what he has that's the advantage in what we were talking about today with his independence is people already know who he is. And independents want that next level of, can you just tell me how you're going to make it better? And it didn't matter how many times the former prosecutor and Kamala Harris came out, and she landed some good ones too. And she was much more buttoned up than the giggly person that we usually see in the word salad and all of that. And that this was not politics. On all the campaign materials, this was a campaign stop. So that's, what did we get yesterday? We got more of what she says on the campaign. I was watching you guys earlier. You can do the side-by-sides and see how she keeps repeating herself and so on.
In a bold and unfiltered statement, Harris Faulkner declared, "I'm exposing the whole damn thing," signaling a deep dive into a story that promises to unveil truths that many might prefer to keep hidden. Known for her incisive reporting and commitment to holding power accountable, Faulkner is not one to shy away from tough topics. This announcement has sparked intrigue and anticipation among viewers as she prepares to shed light on complex issues that demand attention and discussion. With her characteristic determination and journalistic rigor, Harris Faulkner is set to tackle a subject that could reshape public perceptions and ignite critical conversations.
You know what he has that's the advantage in what we were talking about today with his independence is people already know who he is. And independents want that next level of, can you just tell me how you're going to make it better? And it didn't matter how many times the former prosecutor and Kamala Harris came out, and she landed some good ones too. And she was much more buttoned up than the giggly person that we usually see in the word salad and all of that.
Harris Faulkner has solidified her position as one of the most recognized and respected figures in American news media, particularly through her work at Fox News. With a career that spans 2 decades, Faulkner has not only become an anchor, but also a formidable voice in political commentary and journalism.
And that this was not politics. On all the campaign materials, this was a campaign stop. So that's, what did we get yesterday? We got more of what she says on the campaign. I was watching you guys earlier. You can do the side-by-sides and see how she keeps repeating herself and so on. My big question today is,
her journey is marked by a commitment to delivering news with clarity, integrity, and a sense of purpose, particularly as it pertains to the complexities of contemporary politics. As the host of The Faulkner Focus.
But she didn't go deep. She was on the shallow end of the pool for policies. You've met Russian President Putin, and Trump came hard at her over how to end the war between Russia and Ukraine, and he has an idea. He talked about calling he told us his playbook on how he would do that. She doesn't have a playbook, and she can't have one if Biden's not with her to loan it to her.
Faulkner has created a platform that emphasizes both the presentation of news and the exploration of pressing issues facing the nation. Her show has gained a reputation for its direct approach, focusing on critical news stories while fostering discussion on topics that resonate with the public.
And look, this is no disrespect to Eugene and Garen and Tanya who were doing the job. You did not have network anchors up there, though, who do TV every day. And it was a different feel about it, or at least do that pressure cooker type of what we do.
You know, having somebody not answer our question and then pushing back, you didn't have that up there on that stage.
Okay, but here's what you had in Chicago, okay?
Oh, we have a little bit of that?
do.
Oh, yeah, it was very different for Trump.
This format allows her to engage with viewers on a personal level, making them feel informed and involved in the broader dialogue about current events. Faulkner's career in journalism began with a strong educational foundation, earning a degree in mass communication from the University of California, Santa Barbara. Her early experiences in local news reporting equipped her with the skills necessary to navigate the complexities of journalism.
Because they're the same. They're symbiotic. They are lockstep. How do we know? Because they keep telling us, even though now she wants to distance herself from him. So the independents are looking for her to go deep on policy. Yeah, they like a good debate, but it would have been better had they learned more about the woman they haven't known in 3.5 years. And by the way, Larry, why do we not know more about her? Is she like the worst messaging artist? Is there something that she hasn't told us yet that we need to know?
Maybe she hasn't done more or studied more.
She honed her craft at various news outlets, including Los Angeles and Kansas City, before making her way to national platforms. This diverse background in news reporting has shaped her perspective and approach to journalism, enabling her to address a wide array of topics with depth and nuance.
I remember that moment so vividly because it was the opposite of what anybody would do. Anybody would show you civility. This was July 31st. July 13th, he had been shot in the first assassination attempt on his life. The journalists couldn't even start there with, "We're glad you're okay. This is your first opportunity to talk with this group of people, and we're glad you've come today. You know that we're going to ask tough questions." You've got 3 lines, and you know the blue line is going to go, you know, precipitously down, just as if you looked at the
We
flip.
actually could, I don't know if we can put it up on the full screen.
Yeah, let's look at it. You know that there might be some in the audience who wish that they were asking the tough questions right now. I think that's how you put it. The part that you didn't show was the very top of that when we all sat down first. And the comment was from the ABC News reporter there, "This audience didn't want you here. Are you aware of that?" I'm paraphrasing it a bit. It was actually a little less pleasant than that. But that was first out of the gate. So it was hostile. It felt like an ambush. And look, he took the bait. At least 3 out of 5 of the topics that we showed, the blue line, you know, was going down, and then it flattened. And those topics were the economy. You know why? Because that's a universal feeling and experience. That the Biden-Harris White House messed up and Harris-Walz can't fix. There's no denying that. It turned into, right off the top, a pretty caustic situation. But what would any of us do if you think you're walking into making history at the NABJ, not by digital, not in a city that you would choose because it's on the campaign trail, Philadelphia, not any of that, but you're going into the largest audience of black journalists all year long. So that was big. So my big question for Kamala Harris is, why didn't you do better yesterday? I mean, it was a love fest. And it wasn't like what it was like for Trump.
Faulkner emphasizes the importance of clear communication and strives to present news that is not only accurate, but also relatable. Her style encourages viewers to engage critically with the information presented to them, fostering a more informed citizenry. In her role as a news anchor, Faulkner has consistently demonstrated her commitment to objectivity and fair reporting. She navigates the politically charged landscape of contemporary media with a steady hand, ensuring that her coverage is both balanced and informative. This dedication to impartiality has earned her respect among her peers and her audience.
Before November 5th, because if she could, don't you think she would try? So she stops getting the question of, and Trump scored well with independents and Republicans. So he gets 2 out of the 3 groups we looked at. That looks like 2016, according to the expert, Lee Carter, and she's my election guest every year when we do the live audience on those times.
Super smart.
So she says, look, when you get 2 out of the 3 and they track, yeah, her first words were, "I appreciate the spirit of the question," first of all. What is she saying there? I mean, it's the National Association of Black Journalists. When I asked Trump the first question I did, I said,
look, there are many black communities. We're not all the same. We vote differently. We do things differently. I set it up in such a way that this is your audience. There were times, Larry, with certain topics, the border was one of them, where the tracking line for independence was going above the Republican line for Donald Trump and what he was saying. I mean, so he did better than what the spin artists were saying last night. I don't know how I feel about the spin room. I'm curious to know from your experience what you think. I always think it's a good thing for a candidate to go there. It gives them immediate access. It shows that if they had some failures, they're not afraid to walk into the wind.
People are smarter, though.
Why did she go there if she hadn't intended to talk specifically to a question that was asked about that audience? That was, look, if she didn't want to be there talking with whomever, that would be one thing. But black men in particular are a soft spot for her. And part of it is the lack of specificity around the idea of economics and how to change life. And, you know, for people who are really suffering right now. Another area that I thought was a tender spot for her, though, was the Palestinian. He also knows who he's debating. I know she likes to say, oh, I'm not Joe Biden and I'm not Donald Trump. No one thinks you are Kamala Harris. No one would ever confuse you except for with just the policy. But those are two men who've been around for a while. Joe Biden for 50 years. Situation. Hamas versus Israel after Hamas invaded and had a massacre on October 7th against the citizens of Israel.